Well, hello. Welcome back to Tactical Tuesday with Johnny Tiger on December 29, 2020. You're wondering why I'm walking around inside with my hood up and my long jacket and my sunglasses. Well, maybe I just like to be cool. But no, actually, why I'm doing this is I am illustrating the most common dress condition you will run into in this time of the year in the colder part of the world. We have talked about this before. People who are dressed up like this don't look very threatening because you can't see their steroid infused gym muscles, their beautiful life physique, and you can't see the maybe two guns and 10 knives on their belt. Everything is covered. This means they don't look very threatening, but people who are dressed like this sometimes can be the most dangerous because you just don't know. This under this jacket may be a normal guy, middle-aged normal guy, a bit fat, a bit slow, uh, not trained at all, don't even have a pocket knife on him. Or under this fluffy jacket may be a person who is trained, who has trained for about 30 years and knows how to use different kind of weapons and carries different kind of weapons. So it's with that in mind, speaking of carrying, I'm going to show you, since it's Tactical Tuesday, I'm going to show you one of my personal tactics that has seen me through many dangerous places, threatening situations. But before we go into that, I want to explain that if you decide to employ this tactic, know that you most likely will end up in court because there's no explaining around it. You know what you're doing when you do this. You can't say, I was on my way to get grocery and I didn't know this was illegal. Okay? What I'm going to show you guys tonight might save your life someday. But if you ever have to use it, it may send you to court. You may have to go to court and deal with a lot of legal stuff. So keep that in mind. Here in Canada, I don't know about the other part of the world, but here in Canada, it's perfectly okay to walk around the street with a knife on your belt, as long as everyone can see it. And if the police ask you, you say you carry it to cut your apple in your lunchbox. But if you tell the police it's for self-defense, then that knife will get confiscated and you will get into trouble. Because the minute you admit it's for self-defense, you're admitting it's a weapon. And carrying any kind of weapon is illegal in Canada. Another situation where you get into trouble is if you carry your knife concealed. So if you wear a big knife on your back or across your chest where everyone can see it, no problem. But if you put a jacket over it, then suddenly it's illegal because now it's concealed. No one can see it. I'm telling you this to explain why is it what I'm teaching you tonight can get you in trouble if you use it. This is an old trick. I say it's one of my personal tactics, but I did not invent this. This is an old assassin's trick. And I'm not talking about ninja either. Let's say you're walking into a place, maybe a nightclub or a dark alley. On the way home, you're going through this dark alley that you know is going to be dangerous. You know that there's going to be someone lurking in there. Let's say you're like me. You walk around, you carry a few self-defense tools on you. Where do you carry it? Well, most likely you carry it on your belt, or you carry it in your pocket, or you carry it on your ankle, or you carry it on a necklace against your chest. Those are all very good spots. But the problem is, if you're going into a very highly potentially dangerous situation or place, you will run into a situation where you can't get at your weapon or your tool. Let me show you. Let's say I'm walking into the dark alley and suddenly someone jump out at me with a steel pipe in their hand. What do? Well, I have to defend myself. I have to put my arm up and either retreat or jump in. I want to either get away or get in. Either way, my arms have to be up, protecting myself, which means I don't have time to rip open my jacket and reach for this knife in my pocket. Because the moment I start doing that, that person will close the distance and I'm going to get hurt. So these are situations. Let's say someone stick a gun to my back and I need to fight them off. Well, I can't reach for my weapon. The moment I twitch to reach into my pocket, they're going to shoot me. Which means I have to turn around and wrestle for that gun or whatever. I don't really recommend that. This is just for example anyway. I don't recommend wrestling for the gun. We talked about that before. But anyway, you get my point. Now some people say, well, why don't I just unbutton my jacket and when I walk into the alleyway? That make it a little bit better, except when you do this, well, it's pretty cold. It might be raining, very uncomfortable. And also, if you have an open jacket, anyone who's stalking you from the dark will know that you mostly have something under it. So the moment you try to reach, they will pin your arm against your side, and you can't withdraw your weapon. Okay? How do I know that? I've done that to people before when they try to draw a weapon on me. Okay? If this person who's stalking you have friends with them, if there's two or three of them, let's say you walk into that dark alley with your hand in your pocket on your knife, ready to pull it out at the slightest twitch. But one of them managed to get beside you or behind you. Again, all they have to do is give you a big bear hug and trap your arm, and now your knife is trapped. Right? So it is to counteract all those problems that I sometimes employ this old assassin's trick. When I know I'm going to enter into a place that is going to be potentially harmful to my health, dangerous, hostile, before I get in there, I'm going to find a chance to take my knife out of my pocket and then put it into my sleeve. Point first into my sleeve. Watch out you don't stab your own forearm. Okay? The hilt of the knife is barely poking out of my sleeve. And what I do is I slightly conceal it with my hand like this. I imagine most of you, if you didn't see me just put a knife in there, if you look at my hand like this, you wouldn't know there's a knife in there. Okay? With this in my sleeve, I can use my hand to punch, I can use my hand to grab, I can use my hand to block. I can still carry things in my hand. All I have to do is make sure my thumb is buttoned up against the hilt of the knife so it's not going to slide out and fall to the ground. Like that. Now there's two versions of doing this. With a short knife, something that is shorter than your wrist, your hand to your wrist ratio, or a long knife, something more along the length of your forearm. Now there's two different ways to do this. With a short blade, like the one I just pulled out of my pocket, I tuck it into my sleeve like this, tuck my thumb in to conceal the butt end of the knife, and leave my hand nice and loose. When I'm threatened, I shake my sleeve. But look what happened when I shake my sleeve is the knife hilt jump into my hand, and then I punch forward. The knife deploys right there. I got my commando grip. Most likely, if I have to do this, this goes into the person, point blank. Again, conceal in the sleeve, hide it with my thumb so it won't fall out. Even if I shake my hand like this, it's not going to fall out. Okay? When I need to use it, I shake my fist so the hilt go into my fist, and I punch my hand forward, and the knife comes out, ready to use. Okay? This only works with shorter knife. Okay? Now if you have a long knife, then the technique is a little bit different. With a longer blade, you are not going to clear your sleeve, at least not without damaging your sleeve in one fashion or another. If you try to deploy the long knife the way like I just did, like commando grip style, most likely it's going to look like this. Unless you have been very observant, I would imagine most of you didn't even know I have a long blade concealed in my left sleeve like that. This is why this tactic is great for entering into a danger zone, because it's so hard to spot. Now, as you can see, when I try to deploy my long blade this way, it doesn't clear the sleeve. It's only going to get hung up on the sleeve like this, right? Now, I can still make this work because, as you can see, there's about 2 inches of the blade that is clear, that's the outside the sleeve. So just by holding it like this, I can palm strike someone, and this blade is going to cut. No problem. Okay, but it's messy. It's messy. It's not ideal. I can also, now if this was a real knife, I'm using my nightshade so I don't tear up my favorite jacket. If I use a real knife, okay, and when it's bound up by the sleeve, it doesn't clear the sleeve, all I have to do is flex my wrist, and this will cut through the sleeve, and that will allow me to deploy the knife. That will ruin your sleeve, so you might want to try that on the jacket you don't like so much. Okay, but it will work. And if you run into a situation where you have to deploy the knife like this, I would think you're not thinking about ruining your jacket at that point. Okay? But since we don't want to be ruining too many jackets, and we want things to be nice and neat and skillful, there's a different way of doing this with a long blade. Okay? Let's say someone rushed me from the darkness with a baseball bat or a steel pipe, or with this heavy duty rolling pin. Okay, normally I would not think of throwing my arm up to block this unless I don't have any choice because it's going to hurt. If someone swings this down full force and I use my hand to block that, it's going to hurt like crazy. Okay, but now the situation is different. I have a long blade concealed in my sleeve, which means if someone swings a rolling pin or baseball bat at me, I block. I'm blocking with my blade. It's inside my sleeve, but it's still a blade. Okay? I can block this. I can block this full force. No problem. Okay? So that's the first advantage. Is I can block. I can use this to defend. And the moment I block their strike, the moment I get a chance to close the distance, watch this. All I have to do is shake my knife hand, my left hand, to let the hilt drop out into my right hand. Okay? So the whole motion is from concealed, someone swing at me, I block, shake, and pull, and it's out. So the moment I block with this, I'm introducing the hilt into my right hand. And I'm ready to defend myself. Right? If someone, again, this is hypothetical, I don't recommend trying to defend yourself against a gun. But let's say someone point a gun at my head. Normally, if I have to hit it with my hand to get out of the way, it's going to hurt me a lot because the gun is really hard. But if I have this concealed in my sleeve, then I can go full force, bang, hitting that gun with the knife in my sleeve. As I hit this, I'm turning and extracting the knife and attacking. Okay? It's very smooth, very quick. And like I said, with a knife in my sleeve, I can still grab, punch, chop, palm strike, with all kind of stuff. I can grapple, no problem. And if the situation is so desperate that I don't have time, I don't have the space to extend my knife forward, there's nothing stopping me from elbowing the person. Remember, there's a blade in here. I elbow the person, that blade is going to go into the person, even though it's under my jacket. Okay? I debated with myself a lot before doing this episode because I feel like I'm teaching you guys an old trick used by a lot of assassins and killers and murderers. But I feel that the benefit of knowing this will outweigh any kind of moral apprehension because this is a trick. This is the kind of tactic that can really potentially save you from a deadly situation, allowing you to extract your weapon lightning fast and be able to defend yourself. Thank you for checking out today's Tactical Tuesday. We'll be back again tomorrow for Wisdom Wednesday. For now, have a good night.